Hey guys, Jay Spencer here, reporting live from the Lexus Nottingham Open on day five. And it wasn't such good news for British tennis fans as Francesca Jones went out on centre court to Czech player Linda Noskova, and the 20-year-old, who is 32 in the world, outclassed the Brit 6-1, 6-3, carving out an astonishing 23 break points and gobbling up only four of those, actually. But it was still more or less a convincing win. Um, and fortunes were not so good either in the men's, as Ryan Peniston, 29-year-old, beaten by American Emilio Nava 7-6, 7-5, 6-4. And Nava, who actually beat Jack Pennington Jones, the Brit, in the last round, continues to be breaking British hearts there. And he actually now got 12 aces. And actually, the match, if you have a crack on the crack into the stats, was actually 140 points, and Nava won 73 of those points, 67 for Peniston, which means he only won six more points the entire match. And yet Peniston lost. So it pretty tough on Ryan, to be honest, because that's a tough one to take. And actually, there was exactly 150 places between the two in the rankings, with Nava 121, Peniston 271. So really, he played much, much higher than his ranking, and the rankings are deceptive actually because the scoreline was so much closer than you'd think. And also, it wasn't such good news for Jan Choinski either. He was beaten by Sharon Faria of Portugal, and this up-and-coming 21-year-old who's 119 in the world, actually just two places above Nava, actually, in fact, ironically enough, beat Choinski, the British number seven, 7-5, 6-3, and Choinski, who is 208 in the world, um, has had a very good run actually in Nottingham. So shout out to him. He's won three matches in as many days like Arthur Ferry. He's had a great run, so it's you're trying to get used to grass, which we've got grass here, so again ironic. So yeah, so essentially the grass court season is very short, so you've only got a short period of time from clay to grass, and it's literally Wimbledon in what, 10 days, 11, 12 days. It's not a very long stretch, especially when you either last week you had Ilkley. So you've only really got Nottingham, Eastbourne next week, and Wimbledon. It's just a 2 or 3 week stretch, and it used to be shorter. So if anything, I think Choinski and Ferry have done very well. So and Peniston as well. So well done the Brits for the men's. We know that the women are doing well, by the way. So Katie Boulter, Sunny Cartel, um, big match tomorrow for them. So that should be exciting. And I think the next point I wanted to say was that Leylah Fernandez on centre court, she is formerly US Open finalist, and she showed some real class to beat Christina Buxa of Spain 6-3, 6-4, very close in the rankings. Fernandez being 30, 37 Buxa, and she did squander two or three match points, but in the end did see it out and she got it done. And she will play Dayana Yastremska next of Ukraine, who actually uh, sensationally came from 4-1 down in the third set. And I thought, well, this is over. Antonia Ruzic is going to beat her, but actually Yastremska rallied really to come back and take the last five games of the set and clinch the match 6-2, 2-6, 6-4. So that is an unbelievable result, actually, as far as today's results are concerned. And Rebecca Sramkova of Slovakia is really going under the radar in this draw. She's 38 in the world, and she beat the experienced Kazakh Yulia Putintseva 6-1, 4-6, 6-4. So she is also through. And the only other result I think that was worth mentioning was Tristan Schoolkate Saw him quite a bit on the outside courts, and he obviously is famous for being one of the only players, because Carlos Alcaraz is the only man who seems to be able to beat Yannick Sinner. I think in the last 6 months, Sinner's only lost three times, all of them to Carlos Alcaraz. But the interesting thing about Tristan Skulkate, the Australian 24-year-old, is that he famously took a set off Yannick Sinner at the Australian Open back in January. So he lost to Chile's Marcelo Thomas Barrios Vera. Well, that was a long one. Yes, and he lost 6-2, 7-6, 10-8. So yes, I think what's interesting really is that the quarterfinal lineup for the men's has got a very wide variety. There's seven nationalities there, and there are players that are 21, 22. So you've got players who 5, 6, maybe 10 years from now could add a lot of value in terms of this Nottingham Open, and also futuristically, because they could potentially drive the sport. They could be big players in a few years' time, like Faria, Emilio Nava, maybe. They could potentially, and Noskova as well in the women's, they could potentially be um, extremely good players, maybe top 10 players. And when I interviewed Jack Draper 3 years ago, he was number 99 in the world. And who would have known that he would be, standing now at what, number four in the world? I thought he'd be a top 20 player. I had no idea that he would get there as quickly as he has done. So, yeah, I think when you are out on the grounds and you are watching some of the players, don't restrict yourself and say, "Oh, I've never heard of this player from wherever they could be from," or anything. Think actually, you know, in terms of the bigger, the wider picture, um, this could be a real player in a few years' time. Like you never know, you never know. Like Yannick Sinner played Eastbourne 3 years ago, and look at him now, world number one. So you never know, you never know where life will take you, and you never know how good some certain players will be or will become. So yeah, I think the quarterfinals is going to be interesting, and it's been a fantastic tournament so far. I think kudos and credit to the Lexus Nottingham for the tournament directors and the organisers for getting such good players in both sides, the women's WTA and also the ATP Challenger Tour. They've got some very good players this year. So yeah, keep up the good work, and I hope you like the background. I think this is absolutely on the money, really, to have grass as my background tonight. Obviously, I was thinking maybe a tennis court, but no, I think this one works. But yeah, I'm really, really stoked and excited for Katie Bortas, Sunny Cartel tomorrow. That for me is the match of the tournament so far and the match of the week. So I hope that will live up to the billing there. And guys, I just want to say I've had a lot of positive messages of support from all my work videos, SoundClouds, audios, and blogs, and Instagram updates or social media live updates. So yeah, thank you so much for all the support. And as always, I am here on YouTube, James Spencer Official 22. I'm on SoundCloud, I think it's James Spencer 5000. I'm on LinkedIn, James Spencer Journalist, or James Spencer Soulfin, same on Facebook, James Fed 7 on Instagram. And yeah, just appreciate you looking at my content, interacting with it, giving me positive feedback or negative, whichever way you see it. And yeah, I just want to keep pumping content out there, keep improving, and love of the game, really, love of tennis. Ever since I was 4 years old, I've loved tennis. So been to the Wimbledon final with Federer and Roddick back in 2004. Met John McEnroe and Pat Cash for lunch with my dad, and I've been to Wimbledon 6 or 7 times, and queuing up all those times about 2004, 6 or 7 times queuing up in the queue from 7 in the morning. So yeah, that's what you do for the sport, really. So yeah. So thank you so much, guys, and hope you have a great night. Thank you for listening.